Budget friendly, killer performance, and Oppo. They don't really go in the same sentence. Fortunately, that's what we have here with the Oppo K1. Now, if this is your first time here or in case you've forgotten, my name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and in today's video, let's see how the Oppo K1 fared in my week with it. If you do end up liking this video, please don't forget to turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Now, I like the K1's build, but the response from most people who've seen this, it's been quite polarizing. Some have absolutely loved the gradient back, while some have not liked Oppo's choice of colors. Now, this is something you've made up your mind on already. You're either gonna love it or hate it, but what can I tell you that you won't get from looking at pictures of the phone? Well, this back's plastic, it scratches quite easily, so I recommend the included case to be used at all times. On the flip side, the phone still looks good with the case on. Ergonomically, I like what Oppo's done here. The phone feels quite nice in hand. That in-display fingerprint scanner, the cheapest implementation available on the market, it's nice to have. It's not a deal breaker, as in it is not the reason you should buy this phone, but it does feel like a nice little feature to have. While not as fast as the fastest of rear scanners, it doesn't slow you down and it's quite accurate. When coupled with the lift to turn on and facial unlock, the unlock process on the K1 feels effortless. To implement this scanner, Oppo had to go with an AMOLED panel, and that's something you don't find in this segment usually. This is a 6.4-inch panel, it's Full HD Plus in resolution, and it's covered by Corning's Gorilla Glass 5 for protection. Being AMOLED, the colors are quite rich, the blacks are deep, so the contrast is better than what you'd find with any LCD panel. The viewing experience, whether it's watching a video or playing a game, or even performing mundane day-to-day tasks like checking email and so on, it's all good. The water drop notch is very unobtrusive and doesn't get in the way at all. Inside this water drop notch is where you find the selfie camera. You know how Oppo's usual selling point is the selfie camera? Now, if you think they've compromised on the selfie experience since the K1 has other selling points, then think again. Now, this is a 25 megapixel f2.0 camera here, and it's very competent. The AI beauty mode that Oppo loves is also available. I'm not a huge fan of beauty modes, AI or otherwise, but if that's your thing, it's here and it works. The selfies themselves are good, well detailed, offer decent dynamic range, and even the portrait mode works well. Not pixel perfect, but better than good though. While we're on the topic of cameras, let's get done with the rear cameras too. The K1 comes with two to the back, a 16 megapixel f1.7 primary coupled with a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Just like most phones out there, the K1 can also recognize scenes, 16 different ones in 120 different combinations. The results are not as drastic as we've seen with Honor or Huawei, but there is AI recognition here, the images are sharp, there's a good level of detail, the colors seem quite natural, especially saturation levels. Given the f1.7 aperture, the depth of field is quite shallow, there's a nice little natural blur. The rear portrait mode comes with different lighting options and they work well enough for a phone in this price segment, that is. There is the occasional glitch, of course. As long as you don't go in expecting iPhone level performance, you're not going to be disappointed. Under low light, the K1 still holds its own. It's not Redmi Note 6 Pro good, but it is still quite good. The inclusion of a full-fledged expert mode helps get more out of this camera. As for videos, you can do 4K at 30 FPS, the footage is quite detailed and the dynamic range is on point, but the lack of stabilization does hurt. Neither EIS nor OIS are available here. So we've seen the built-in cameras, let's now talk performance. The K1 is powered by the Snapdragon 660 chip. Now this is the underclocked version of the 660 that we've seen on the Max Pro M2 and the Realme 2 Pro in the past. On the software side, we have ColorOS 5.2 running on Android 8.1 Oreo. Oppo's not the fastest at updates, so I'd have loved to see this launch with Android 9 Pie. That said, the performance here with day-to-day tasks can't really complain. Everything felt snappy. I'd often find myself multitasking, jumping between music and socials, and I'd not even realize that I wasn't on flagship hardware. Even with intense tasks like gaming, the K1 managed to hold its own. Something like PUBG did run smoothly. The included game mode helps here. The performance, the raw power, that's one area where the K1 fares better than something like the Redmi Note 6 Pro. Talking about competitors, something like the Mi A2 is more powerful since it has a full-fledged 660, but the K1 does hit back with better battery life. There's a 3600 mAh battery here. ColorOS optimizations ensure the K1 does get through a day on a single charge, even when pushed with intense usage. So, what does Oppo charge for the K1? The 464 variant starts at 16,990. At this price, you get a phone that arguably looks good, has an in-display fingerprint scanner, competent cameras, a solid chip inside, offers good battery life, all with that excellent water drop notch. It's not just the water drop notch, it's also an AMOLED display with the water drop notch. Now, is it the best bang for your buck? Probably not. Now, if AMOLED and the in-display scanner were not important to you, and if you needed better battery life and a little better low light performance, all while taking a bit of hit with regards to raw performance, then the Redmi Note 6 Pro is available for cheaper. If the cameras were of utmost importance and you didn't care much for looks or battery life, the Mi A2 comes into the equation. The Realme 2 Pro or the Zenfone Max Pro M2 are other alternatives, but they lack the AMOLED panel and in-display fingerprint scanner too. So, while there are other options that do certain things better than the K1 does feel like a well-rounded option, one that would serve you well if you like all of what it offers. So that's it for my 2 cents on the Oppo K1. What do you think about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this video. Share it with friends and family if you can. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4 Retech. And I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.